Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. It's Brittany, your friendly plant-loving internet stranger, back with another video. Today I am doing a highly requested update on my easy plants. A few months ago I did a video where I shared my experience with easy plant and I wanted to provide an update. I've had a few people ask about how the plant that I featured in that video was doing. If you're interested in checking out my initial video on easy plant, I'll post a link to it so you can check that out. So easy plant is a company that specializes in making the plant parenthood journey really easy for people by offering an assortment of different houseplants that come in self-watering containers. The containers are very nice, they're modern. This is actually the planter that I had. I had two of these. One of them I left outside, and this is just like paint, and it looks completely disgusting now because the paint started to chip. So that might be a project for some point this summer. Maybe I'll like scrape the rest of the paint off and spray paint it a different color or something. But the issue that I was having was that the plant that I had purchased, which was the anthurium black, was not doing well. It was like turning black, and I didn't know exactly what was going on in this self-watering container, and I didn't want to waste my money. You know, these plants are not cheap. I think I paid like $40 to $45 for this one, and this is a small planter, so I definitely did not want it to, I didn't want to lose my money. So I reached out to Easy Plant when I started to notice that the first anthurium black I got was starting to turn black, and I didn't know what was going on because I couldn't see the roots, and I didn't want to, you know, take the plant out of the container. And eventually the first plant I had ended up completely dying. I sent pictures of it to Easy Plant. They sent me a replacement plant, and I started to notice that there was still some discoloration on the leaves that appeared after a short amount of time of me having this plant. And it's normal for plants to be shocked and to maybe even lose a couple of leaves once you take them out of a box if it's like a mail order plant, because if you think about it, plants need sunlight. If it's being shipped through the mail, that means that it's going to be in darkness for an extended period of time. So you don't really know what type of trauma the plant is going to experience when it's on its way to you. I received these plants in the fall, so the weather was pretty mild where I live, and it wasn't like the plants were in any sort of environment where it would have been harmful for them outside of them being in a dark box. Like, it wasn't overly hot. I was at home when the package arrived, so I took it out of the box immediately. It's not like it was sitting on the porch when it was like excessively hot or cold. And I actually have another video where I talk all about mail order plants and like tips for having a successful experience with that. So be sure to check that video out if you're interested. I'll post it somewhere on the screen. When I got my replacement plant, I knew for sure, once I saw that the leaves were starting to become discolored, I was not about to leave the plant in the pot, because for the first plant, when it came to me, there were a couple of spots on the plant that were like black, and I didn't know what was going on there, but I put the water in the reserve. So the way this planter is set up, hopefully you can see this. I have my bright light here so you can see. No drainage hole. It's a self-watering pot, so it has like a little, I don't know what this apparatus is called. I'm not a pro on self-watering pots, so if you are familiar with this type of self-watering pot where it's basically just like a string in the bottom and the water absorbs through the string, this type of self-watering pot reminds me a lot of science fair projects that I used to do when I was in elementary school. You basically add water into this reservoir, and it comes with this little cap. Once you've put the water in, you add the cap onto it, and it's basically like you set it and forget it. The plant is inside, and as it needs water, it will, through that little string, since that's at the bottom and it's connected to the reservoir, it will start to just pull water from the water that's in the planter to the plant whenever it needs to be watered. So ideally it should work fine. It just didn't work for me. And I think that maybe the plants that I ordered, because I only ordered the anthurium black, so I'm not going to say that Easy Plant doesn't work. I actually have a friend who sent me pictures of her plant recently, and I'll text her and ask if I can put the photos of her plant before and after. Her plant looks amazing, and it's from Easy Plant. So I do think that this company is onto something, because this is a very, very, very stylish container, and it was part of the reason I wanted to try it out, was because like, this is nice. You know, if you just get a plant from any store, it's not coming in a pot that looks like this unless you buy, you know what I mean, like you have to pay a premium to get a pot that looks like this. And I did pay a premium, but this is a really, really nice pot. So I kept it because I was like, oh, I'm gonna figure out how to use this. Even if the plant can't survive in here, we gonna pull this little plastic thing out, or figure out how to pull that out, and I'm gonna drill a hole in it, because I have a diamond drill bit. So I do know how to drill holes into planters that don't come with drainage holes. So I might do that. That might be another, maybe that'll be another video of me like deconstructing this Easy planter and like completely pulling that plastic part out the middle and that string apparatus, and just drilling a hole in it and then repotting something in there. Or maybe I'll just use it as a another pot, and I'll put a smaller pot inside of it. But yeah, so I knew for sure I wanted to take the anthurium black out of that pot. Maybe for whatever reason, the batch of anthurium blacks that Easy Plant had at the time that I was ordering them, they were just bad. They could have just been bad, you know, but I've seen other people that I know and trust have a really good experience with the plants, and like have had the plants for months, if not close to a year, and the plants are doing really, really well from them using the planter the way it was designed to be used, and just pouring that water in that reservoir every 30 days. So I don't want to knock this company and say like it doesn't work. I just think maybe I just got a bad batch. Maybe if I would have gotten the anthurium black and then as the replacement plant gotten another plant, I don't know that they would allow me to do that. But I'm just using that as an example of like, I got the exact same plant, right? And so if they had a bad batch of, an infected batch of like these anthuriums, and I got 2 plants from that bad batch, then of course they're both gonna not be doing great. So without further ado, I want to show you the anthurium black that I repotted. So I took this pot out of the planter that I just showed you there and put it into this really cute crescent moon container. It's like a speckled like beige color. So I have a video where I show how I drilled a hole in this. So I actually bought this planter, and believe it or not, it didn't come as a planter. It was originally a candle holder. Like there was a candle that had been poured inside of here, and somebody made this, like a ceramicist that I follow on Instagram, and I have a couple of her pieces. She had a candle collection randomly last year or the year before. I think it was a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh, I love that. And when I was done burning the candle, I knew that I was going to be reusing this pot. So I planted it up into this container, and this is the anthurium black. Now you can see a little bit of discoloration on the leaves. Like there's a little brown spot right here, but outside of that, the leaf still looks really healthy. There's some browning and curling of the tips of this leaf right here. Hopefully that will focus for you. I'll get some additional footage and add it in so you can see it a little bit better in natural lighting. And then there are some spots on this leaf. I don't know what's going on with that, but the plant still has a little bit of something going on, but it looks a lot better than the first one looked, if you could believe it. And when I got the plant, it was a lot fuller than this. It was like two of these inside of one plant. So it was very full. And I have an unboxing. I think I have a short on the channel where I did an unboxing of the plant. So I will also link that so you can actually see what the plant looked like when I first got it. It wasn't as like scraggly as this. This is like the struggle daddy plant. And we're trying to rehab it. We've been rehabbing it for a few months. And like, honestly, it doesn't look terrible. Yeah, it's got some brown stuff happening here, but I don't see it continuing to brown anywhere. And this is a perfect leaf right here. So this gives me a lot of hope because this leaf is completely perfect. And I see what could be the start of another leaf there. I'll do some additional footage for you to actually see what I'm seeing. But I like this plant. When I got the plant, it had that beautiful like black anthurium flower on it that has since died off, but I'm hoping that with this being in another pot that I can actually water and let drain and like, you know, fertilize it when it's needed and do all that good stuff, that this plant will bounce back. I repotted it. I just did that like maybe a month or a month and a half ago, even though I knew I needed to do that. I had completely stopped using the reservoir on the self-watering pot, and I was just pouring the water on top. And again, like, because this does not have a drain, when you water a plant that way, you have to just kind of do a little bit at a time. So I was like watering it gingerly whenever I thought it needed to be watered. And it lasted for several months in the old pot, or in its original pot, from me just like pouring a little bit of water on top as was needed to water it. And I definitely didn't want to like saturate it to the point where it was just like sitting in the drain water and like potentially getting root rot, because I didn't know what was going on with it. Another thing I'll say is that after I repotted this plant, I used some of my, I forget the name of it, but it's the systemic pesticide that I use. It's basically like these little granules that you pour on top of the soil and mix it in a little bit and water it, or you can mix it directly with water and make a little solution. Completely toxic to like everything else. Don't use that sort of pesticide on anything you're gonna eat or that your pets could potentially eat, because it just makes the plant toxic. But I didn't know what was going on with this plant. I didn't know if it had a fungus. I didn't know if it had some sort of disease. I didn't know if it had some sort of pest. And so I wanted to make sure that whatever was going on with it, if it was like a living, breathing something that was in the soil that was causing it to, you know, have discolored leaves, I wanted to like completely eradicate that. So I feel pretty confident that that plant is on the mend. And I'm excited to see what it's going to look like in a couple of months. I'm going to keep watering it as normal and probably bump the fertilization up a little bit over the spring, just to see if that will help, and then maybe I'll report back. So that was my overall experience with Easy Plant. And do I recommend it to others? I guess. I mean, if you like this pot, and they have like multiple sizes of these. They have really, really big ones that you can get, you know, like a tall plant, like a bird of paradise or something that's pretty large in this. I think this is the smallest size. I'm pretty sure this is the small that I have here. And then they have the medium size one. So I think they have small, medium, large, and maybe extra large. If you like that, if you don't feel comfortable or confident with your ability to keep a plant alive because you have tended to overwater or underwater your plants, I think the self-watering planter concept is a great idea for people who want to get into plants but don't feel the most confident with their ability to take care of it. Because if it works well, it really is a set it and forget it type situation. You get the plant, you take it out the box, you put it in a nice area, you know, a sunny area, or a area that the plant is going to thrive as far as the lighting conditions go. And then you fill that water reservoir up once a month, essentially. I water my other plants, a lot more than once a month. So I do think it's a good option for people who just want to have a bit of a more easeful experience. And the other good thing about Easy Plant and other plant mail order services is that usually if your plant dies within a certain amount of time, within like 30 days or something of having the plant, they will send you a replacement for free. And they're not asking you to send the dead plant back to the factory. So I now have 2 of these. Like I said, the other one is outside and it's been completely destroyed by the elements, but we're gonna get it together. But if you do get a plant, like this has happened to me before, where I've gotten a plant outside of Easy Plant, but I've ordered something, it comes and it doesn't look good. And I send a picture to the company and I'm like, this is what it's looking like. And they're like, nope, we'll send you a replacement. Or you can buy like the little shipping insurance. I think a lot of the bigger popular plant companies, mail order plant companies, are starting to incorporate that as an option at checkout. So I don't know what that's called, but if you look on the website or a similar website, you'll probably see what I'm talking about. So I do think it is a good investment. Again, if you fit the bill of what I just described, you want to become a plant parent, you can afford to spend however much Easy Plant costs, because it's a more expensive premium cost service when it comes to plants. Because you could go to Home Depot and just probably pick that plant up for under $20, and that's probably on the higher side. But if you can afford to pay for that sort of a plant, and you like the vessel it comes in, it fits in with your decor, or you were already gonna buy a planter that looks like that from West Elm or something, might as well just get this one that is cute and comes with the plant in it. Save yourself some trouble. Would I try Easy Plant again? I would absolutely try Easy Plant again. If Easy Plant wanted to sponsor me, holler at your girl. I am here and available to do a larger, more extensive review for you, Easy Plant. I would love to do it. I mean, the plant is still holding on, right? The plant is still holding on. She had some issues, but again, I'm not blaming that on the company. I just think maybe it was just not a good, it just wasn't a good season for the anthurium blacks that they had sitting in their studio. So that's pretty much it. Those are my thoughts on Easy Plant. I would love to hear from you if you have ordered from Easy Plant and you've had a good experience, or even if you have a bad experience. What condition did your plant come in? Which plant did you get? How long have you had it, and what is it looking like now? Definitely leave me a comment to let me know. I would also really appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe for more plant content just like this. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.